How do I start over? Sometimes that's all you want. Just a do-over, just a reboot, just let's start over, start from scratch. But then you get to it, and the question is, what does it take? Now, I won't answer this in 60 seconds. It would do a disservice to the effort that it would take you. This is a 7-part series, 7-ish. Let's get to the basics on the change. I just need to express one thing. One of the things that I love to do is work with people who are encountering something they need to change or have begun to determine, okay, yeah, now is the time. Now I need to make some kind of change happen. I realize that a lot of people say, well, I can just do this myself. So what I am doing here is providing you a short walkthrough explaining the topics that you need to address, because when you miss pieces, it can derail the change you're actually trying to accomplish. In order to help you avoid that, I'm just bringing out some things that you need to discover. You may add things to it, you may take away from it, but at the least, you'll have a pretty good view of what it takes not only to make the change, but to sustain it. So this is intended to be for DIY purposes and not to really elucidate on the finer points, because everyone's situation is going to be different. All right, here we go. All right, so ask yourself a few questions and allow yourself some time to answer it. Parameters. Is this a change in geography? Did you move? Is it a cultural change or relationship status change? Did you change your job or your career? Maybe you got a promotion or changed your religious beliefs. So I'm thinking at least one of those struck you. When you have a change, even in just one area, you might notice that somehow it seems to affect change in everything else too. And that can be disconcerting because your shortcuts or normalcy seems to be out of your control and you want to be clear-minded and self-directed. You expected newness in one area of life, but all of the other changes caught you off guard. Okay, once you know that, here are the starting questions you should take some time to consider. The organization of your answers will help you catch your bearings. 1, what was the starting position? Where did I start? You want to be able to describe that. 2, how do I ensure the new thing is not more of the same? And let me explain. There was a reason the starting point needed to change. What are those variables? When you were dissatisfied enough to say, I want something different, what was it that caused you to say that? Now, if the new thing starts to display those same variables, would you notice? If you notice it, will you give in and give up? Or would you start a new change? You need to consider this at the beginning if you want to be self-directed. 3, how do I keep a perspective that is whole? And what I mean here, when you have a change and you have a blind spot, you start to obsessively resist parts of yourself. This is counterproductive. If the change you are attempting actually forces you to restrict, ignore, or belittle parts of yourself in order for the change to exist, you find yourself steered to conclusions versus choosing into them. You will have delegated away some of your decisions. And over time, if you're not aware, you might begin to feel trapped. So ask yourself, how do I keep a perspective that allows me to be whole? And last, how do I remain self-directed? And this is similar to the one above, but the language is important. It's different. Will you recognize if you're not self-directed? Will you recognize if your options are limited? And how do you regain or protect your controls? This is all about being self-directed. How will you regain or protect your boundaries, your decisions? How will you protect your autonomy? You will come up with more questions to determining whether you are or can remain self-directed, but once you begin with these questions, once you begin to insist on this kind of clarity from yourself, you'll not only find the right questions, you'll find the answers. And this is all just a setup. This isn't even the really good stuff. Take some time, though. Go through these questions. Consider what kind of change you're considering or are in the middle of. And in the next video, I'll have some suggestions for your next steps. Now, to help you along, because I actually want you to ask yourself the questions, you'll find a link in the description to view or download the questions. It is in your best interest to watch the following videos having already reviewed these questions because they all build on each other. So I'll see you soon.